Hello. Um, Welcome to Linus Literature Library. We are in chapter 7 of Redemption Road, reading between the lines where stories come alive. So, what really happened in chapter 7? A recap of what we read in chapter 6. Chapter 6 ended with Benji saying that she was going to hold Commander Cobra accountable for all the atrocities he put her and other victims through. Now in chapter 7, the writer goes back to introduce us to Moses Varney. Now, where chapter 5, when Bendu met Cobra, she was surprised. But then before Cobra left, Cobra said, "You know what? Now I'm not called Commander Cobra. My name is Moses Varney." Is it the same Moses Varney that the writer introduced to us as someone who was a role model to this young youth? And he's the same Commander Cobra that Bendu met? No, what are we saying here? Now, the writer does so well, beautifully well, to give us a character with two names. Now, this same person is Moses Varney, someone who the youth looked up to, someone that boys like Alfonso, Simeon, etc. were looking up to. Even we, his driver, looked up to, called him Sir. Sir, don't forget us, oh. Your boys, don't forget us, oh. They are up there in the grass, wanting to climb up there to the 6th story, wanting the greener pastures, wanting a way to come out from the bushes. They run to him, and then he's the same person called Moses Varney. And this time around, he's the same person called Commander Cobra. And this time around, this Commander Cobra was wicked, killed human beings as if they were goats, destroyed people's life, altered people's life, taught people how to fight and kill, killed a whole village just because he felt like, or what? He was the leader of a gang. Now there's this same person who is called Moses Varney, who now goes by the name Moses Varney. But is he also a victim of the system? In his dashboard, he said, "For the cause of the people." What? Oh God, this is so interesting. This is so interesting. So interesting. In the cause of the people, the struggle continues. It's so interesting. So in chapter 7, a summary of it, Moses Varney dislikes the system too. He feels it favors only those in power. So in chapter 7, we're also introduced to Judge Dagose. So Judge Dagose is very corrupt. He turns cases to favor him. He's a judge. He's up there. But then he takes money, takes bribe, alters cases just to favor him. At the end of the day, he who pays him much gets to win the case. So Judge Dagose, Varney hates this person, Moses Varney, the same Commander Cobra. But here, in this context here, we're going to maintain Moses Varney as the name because these two names, even though it refers to the same person, during the war, he was called Commander Cobra. But now, after the war, he's called Moses Varney. He's a changed person. He has seen a lot, right from a younger age, at the age of 11 years, losing his both parents in an accident that he was even part of. So he has seen a lot as a child. So he hates the system too. He wished he could stand up for these people, for the poor. But then what happens? The system changes. The system forces his hand to do what he's not supposed to do. And thinking he's doing it for the people, the struggle is still on. So he goes to see Judge Dagose to give him a briefcase full of, you and I do not know, but of course it's an amount of money, just to get police and etc. off his back. He's in town. When he met Bendu, he told Bendu he's in town for a business. So if he's sending the money, it's for a reason. Well, if he had his way, he wouldn't send that money. And what case is that? What is Dagose defending them from? Why is he bribing Judge Dakwesi? Because he helps them do one or two things. We'll find out what the judge does for Commander Cobra. See, the suspense in this thing, at a point I was like, can you just tell us that we don't have to read 220 pages, almost 220 pages to get to know what will happen? Can Elma just tell us? We're just tired. The suspense is just too much. Why is he bribing? Now, if you're a changed person, you are now Moses running. And you are now fighting for the people. It says even here, Ria, his driver. The driver's name is Ria. Now, Ria is also what? A victim of the system. He's forced to become a combatant. Moses Vani said that to himself. He wished the system would have been different. But it can't be different. It just can't. It just can't. So let me read here from the book, chapter 7. It says, Vani sat down and opening his bag. He still had qualms. When we say qualms, feeling of doubt. He still had this feeling of doubt about what he was going to do. But how much longer could they wait for things to change? How much longer could they wait for promises to be kept? When would justice ever prevail if they didn't take action and establish it? If you do not take action, if you do not establish what is supposed to be done and not supposed to be done, when will something change? If we all sit down and say that, after all, I'm not in government. After all, it is not my party that is up there. When will something change? He says, when will justice ever prevail if they didn't take action and establish it? Who are they? You and I. If we do not take action and we do not establish it, it's not just about saying and not doing. It's not just about doing and not saying. Both have to go hand in hand. You understand? So he's saying that, look at his driver, Ria. He's questioning himself. Moses is questioning himself. Look at his driver, Ria. All the young man wanted was an opportunity to make a good life for himself. But archaic land and labor systems in his village and unfair systems in the country as a whole had led him to choose the life of a combatant as his way out. So he moves from the rural area, comes to the city, and ends up being a rebel. Ends up joining a gang where they go and fight and rob people. They kill. What kind of choice was that? Why would he have to choose to be a combatant in the city? Why would he have to make that choice? Sometimes I tell people that anyone who sits idle and says that there is no work is just being lazy. Now, this was the war time. He left the rural area. The driver, left to come to the city to work. Well, it's not written as I'm saying in the book, but then we assume that he comes and he ends up being a combatant. Now, Vani looks at the content of his bag. This one payment to Judge Dakwesi will take care of several things. Manpower for the cause. Which cause? What cause is Vani fighting for? For the well-being of the people. So he's paying Judge Dakwesi for manpower for the cause, security for getting supplies to their people. What supplies? Food, weapons, drugs. Getting these ammunitions to his people. And when all was said and done, the part that they needed to finally change the living and working conditions of the poorest Liberians. For a start, let's see what Moses Vani wants to do. So for a start, they would fix up the deplorable schools, create better housing, and provide good jobs. So things are happening in Liberia as a then. Moses Vani thought it wise to what? In chapter 7. I want things to be better for my people. People are poor. People are suffering. All this fighting and killing during this civil war, etc. is for a good cause. That's to Moses Vani. He felt that he needed all this. They needed, he and his people, his boss, whoever, needed these protection, needed this manpower, needed supplies, needed all this to continue to fight underground so that when they take power, maybe it's a coup, maybe whatever the cause may be, So you see, anytime a political party is operating, know that there are other political, sub-political parties that were not voted for, but are deep down there somewhere, trying to take over and make it better. So if you're up there, your goal is to make it better than you met it. Else, there are people down there behind you that are also working to uproot you and take over, because to them, you are not doing a better job. So this book is this particular part is a challenge to what every governmental organization out there, every leading person. It can be in a school, workplace, it can be anywhere, in a family, at a workplace, in an institution, in the university, anywhere where leadership or authority comes in. You should know that if you're not doing your work well, there are people that are working tirelessly, bribing who they can bribe, painting pictures that they can paint just to pull you down and take over, because they feel that they can do it better. They wish they had what you have, the resources you have, so that they can do it better. So if you have all those resources and you're up there, you are the leader, you are the authority, you are the headmaster, you are the principal, you are whoever you are, up there, you are the president, you are the prime minister, and you feel that you can't do, you are the chief of staff, chief of wherever you are, know that there are people that are just right behind you. Just behind you. You might not see them, but they are there trying to uproot you. So wherever you are, whatever position you are in, do your best. You can be a pastor, you can be a regional secretary, you can be a presbyter, you can be whoever. There are people who want to take your seat. So when you're doing it and it's better, obviously we would want you to be there and stick there and make it better or best. So he says what? He wants to what? And he is looking at what? The part that we needed to finally change the living and working conditions of the poorest Liberians. This is Moses Vani, a commander cobra that used to kill people. That was a rebel leader. Today is Moses Vani and wants to change the course of action of their country, of his country. For a start, they would fix up the deplorable schools, create better housing, and provide good jobs. Basic amenities that every native or citizen would need from their leaders. Basic necessities that every congregant in a church would need from their pastor. Basic amenities. We come to church, we need a church to sit on. There are churches where even the population they have, the congregations they have are more than their seats. But each and every day, each one of those people pay offertory. So we would need to see that something is happening, something good is coming out. Now Moses Vani is working towards that. That's why he wants to create better housing, provide good jobs, and fix the deplorable schools. Now Moses Vani thought about how his father had once worked on a farm where the owner trapped most of the workers by giving them goods from his store on credit. So at the end of every time, when their salaries come, they're already owing the employer. They pay with their salary. They are giving back maybe bits or balances or something. They borrow again. So by the time the month ends, they obviously go home with nothing. They are always in debt to the employer. You can't leave that job and find another one. I remember working for I don't know if I should say, let me just say an institution or a company. I remember working where when the month ends, instead of paying your salary maybe by 30th of the month, 31st, your salary comes the 20th of the new month, of the next month. So assuming we are currently in February, so January salary, I'll be receiving January salary on the 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd of February. So by that, I feel like this one is still owing me 3 weeks into February. Why don't I complete another 1 week so that he pays me February? Now, before you get February salary, you're going to get it somewhere the latter part of March. So you keep on working for that person. I am a Ghanaian, but this company I'm talking about is owned and managed by Indians. Look at that. I'm in my own country. a foreigner comes, and instead of paying me as he's supposed to be on monthly basis, he ends up owing me each and every, so I cannot leave. But when you leave, you're going to change that 3 weeks, 4 weeks salary, and you wouldn't get it unless you are willing to give it away. You see how the system is. It's still happening till today. If you're a leader in a company, pay your people. Do not let them start to form coup or start to have even that idea of trying to bring you down. It's wrong. How do you run a business like that? How do you run a country? How do you run a school with that? Knowing very well that at any point in time, your people can outsmart you. Anybody can just take you off or bring you down. The slightest of mistakes. So that's for chapter 7. The writer makes us understand that naturally he wants the good for his people. Yeah, but some way or the other, he begins to do things at a point in time, or he did things at a point in time that we all saw him as the villain. But this character, Moses Vernon, really, maybe his ways are just wrong. So that's it for chapter 7. We're going to meet in chapter 8. We'll discuss what really happened in chapter 8. Moses Vernon dislikes the system. So he tries to pay a judge called Judge Akwasi to have his back, protect them so that they could get ammunition, they could get supplies, etc. to his people. So that when they take power, you look at the basic amenities that these people or his people or the librarians, poor librarians needed, so that they work on it. I'll see you in chapter 8.